One of my favorite platforms out there right now in the market is Android. Now, I like Android devices, I like Android powered phones, and I like the variety of options you get from Android devices from Samsung, Google Pixels, and the rest of them, the good cameras and everything. But when it comes to performance, when it comes to which one do I prefer, when it comes to which one is better, the iPhones are just simply better than the Android phones. Now, notice I didn't say Android is better than iOS. I said iPhones are better than Android phones. Now, it's not just about the phone, how the phone operates. It's not just about having large sizes of RAM and all that. It's how the software and the hardware of the devices complement each other, right? Now, you Android fanboys are going to come out for me now and want to take my head out. But please, before you do, let me explain. So, iPhones are just simply faster than Android phones. Now, the A12 and the A13 Bionic chips that comes inside the iPhone XS and the iPhone 11 are far faster than the Snapdragon 855 that comes inside the Galaxy S10 Plus and the Galaxy S10 series. In Geekbench score, the A13 and the A12 Bionic chip perform far faster than the Snapdragon 855 and the Snapdragon 855 Plus. Just to give you an idea, when it comes to transcoding videos on the iPhone and most Android devices, for instance the Galaxy S10 Plus, we find out that the Galaxy S10 Plus does not transcode videos as fast as the iPhone XS or the iPhone 11. Because of the speed difference, when it comes to augmented reality, it is far better on the iPhones than on the Android phones. iPhones do not come with junk apps and bloatwares like Android phones. For instance, if you buy an iPhone, all the applications that you need for the phone to function well are built into the operating system of the phone. You hardly have anyone floating around your screen. But get an Android phone, you have hundreds of junk applications floating all around the screen. Take, for instance, the Tecno devices. You're going to have all sorts of bloatwares running around, and coming in from the box, you're having 50 apps pre-installed. That's not just for Tecno. Every other Android manufacturer comes with a lot of bloatwares. Some apps, they just install them for you. Apps you don't need, right? Because of the variety of Android phones out there, Google has no control, Google has no say on how Samsung will actually build their own UI, because every Android phone have their UI. So Samsung can actually strike a deal with the company that they want to have their apps pre-installed on Samsung phones before they sell them in the market. So Google has no say over this because Samsung has already paid for the OS. And at the end of the day, it leaves you, the user, with a lot of junks. And most of these junk applications keep collecting your information and sending them to servers that you don't know about, which is going to bring us to the next point, which I'm going to talk about in a minute: security. But Google Pixel phones, on the other hand, work on any carrier, work on any network, or work on any service without having bloatwares and everything. But it's still not as good as the iPhones. So this brings me to the next point. iPhones are simply more secure than Android phones. Now, Android fanboys, please don't argue. You can win this round. You see, Apple collects data from everyone that uses iPhones and does a good job at keeping those data in-house to use for development purpose. Google does the same, but Google can control all the bloatwares and junk-wares that comes into your device, which might ask you to install a particular app, and that app ends up sending your bank details to some guy in China or some guy in Arizona in the United States or somewhere in the world. Android phones do a good job of asking you for permission for an app to access particular parts of your device. But what exactly is that app going to do with the information it's going to get from that particular part of your device it's going to access is what you actually don't know. Android phones actually do a good job, but when it comes to the core services or the way things are handled, Apple iPhones take the day. So let's talk about updates. Now, Android devices are very terrible at handling updates. As of February 2019, a whopping 83% of all iOS devices introduced in the last 4 years were running iOS 12, according to Apple. Even up to April of 2019, Google had not even published the adoption rate of the Android 9 Pie. Even the Android 8.0 Oreo took about a year for older Android devices to get the update. And even after a year, the penetration for the updates for older Android devices was just 19%. This was an exception with the Google Pixel devices. As I'm talking to you, I don't even know when the Android 10 is coming to my Galaxy S9 Plus because Samsung has not really given us a firm day for an update. Talk about those of you that use Tecno, Infinix, and Itel devices. Your own matter is even worse because you guys don't even receive update at all. If you try and receive the update and you try to update, your device will crash. Talk about you Samsung users, Your own is that you are just going to receive 2 major updates after you buy the phone, and that is it. But an iPhone user is going to receive updates between 6 to 7 times before the phone finally goes out of service. Apple updates are so good that you might even receive the update the same day that it's released, depending on your location. So tell me, who's the daddy now, huh? So let's talk about the App Store and the Play Store. The Apple App Store offers fewer apps than the Google Play Store. The Apple App Store offers around 2.1 million apps, while the Google Play Store offers around 3.5 million apps. Apple is very strict about the kind of apps it allows into the App Store. That's why you find fewer apps in the App Store. But in the case of Google, it's almost like saying anything goes. While Apple's control may seem too strict, it prevents situations like that time when a fake version of WhatsApp was published on the Google Play and downloaded by over 1 million people before it was removed. That's a major threat. Those are things that you can never find happening on iPhones or on the Apple Store. So the next time somebody tells you about Android security, show them this video. The best applications come on iPhones first before any other Android devices. So this is almost like saying Android users have to eat the crumbs when those that use iPhones have already finished eating. Let's take games like Fortnite for instance. It took several months of wailing and crying and almost begging from Android users before Fortnite was able to come to Android, even though it was a Samsung exclusive application as of that time. Even other applications such as Super Mario Runs, HQ Trivia also took several months before they were able to come to Android. Have you forgotten about Snapchat so soon? It took several months before Snapchat was able to come to Android, and even when it came to Android, it was quite terrible. It took a long time before they began to normalize it. The message here is very clever. For those who don't want to be treated like second-class app citizen, the iPhone is still king. Let's talk about the Apple ecosystem. The Apple ecosystem is like the best ecosystem out there right now, no matter how Samsung, LG, Google, and the rest of them try. The ecosystem is not just as good as the Apple ecosystem. For instance, with the community feature in iOS, you can use your MacBook to send and receive text messages and even place calls. All you have to do is keep your iPhone nearby. Samsung users, can you beat that? What about AirDrop, which allows you to transfer photos and videos from your phone or some other files from your phone to your MacBook without having to connect the phone via cable to the computer? Because of iCloud, you can actually have access to your photos and videos that are on all your Apple devices on your iPhone with just a click of a button. Okay, Android does this, but not as good as Apple does it. If you lost your iPhone, you will just cry because you have lost your phone. But when it comes to your files inside the phone, you are very, very sure that they are secured and they'll be safe. The highest thing the person will do is to maybe scrap the phone because they will not be able to unlock it from iCloud or anything. But bro, that case is different with Android devices. If your Android phone goes missing, first of all, you should be worried about the files you have inside because they can manipulate Android phones and log into them. Or even if the person is not interested in logging into the device, the person can actually wipe your data off and unlock your phone from the Google factory reset protection, and the device is the person's own. Another thing here is iPhones are the easiest phones to use whenever and wherever you find them. If you look at the screen of a phone, if it's an iPhone, even from a distance, you're going to recognize it. But most times, Android phones, from a distance, you just might not be able to tell which one it is because of the numerous skins and the numerous UIs by different manufacturers that they sample on their phones. Because Apple owns the software and hardware of the iPhones, it gives you a cleaner and better software and hardware integration of the device. For instance, an iPhone 8 Plus with 2 to 3 gigs of RAM runs far faster than an Android phone that has up to 6 gigs of RAM. That is why the Google Pixel devices has a better software and hardware experience in the Android space, because Google makes both the hardware and the software. So that's the advantage the iPhone has over Android. So thank you very much guys for watching. Do let me know down in the comments what kind of phone you use. And if you're an Android phone user, will you ever switch to an iPhone? I would like to hear your thoughts down in the comments, alright? Until the next time, my name is T Kingsley. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, alright? I'll catch you again in the next one.